And look, in
Yeah.
your own case, moving on to you,
Mm.
what was the same and what was different?
I think my own personal resilience once again stood me in good stead. And I do think I'm a better carer than I am a patient. um, um, I knew I had to be kind to myself, but I also had to be strong for other people. Felicity and Patrick really took my news very badly, and so that was a challenge in itself. Um, but once again, I found work to be a refuge, and it's what I did. It's kind of who I am. But now I've also had a few more friends who've been through their own journey, and it's clear to me that every single person is unique, and how they face their diagnosis is unique to them, and how they cope with their treatment, is unique to them. So, on reflection, though, I had some quite low personal points which I did share with people. And the loneliness having radiotherapy, I find that, in fact, I was only talking to somebody about it yesterday, the loneliness about having radiotherapy locked away from the world in that large room. And I think I had some lovely pictures of North Yorkshire on the ceiling. But, I chose to have my appointments at the end of the day so I could work during the day. Car parking was easy. I could find a space by having a 5:30 appointment. And the hospital team were absolutely fantastic and accommodated that. So
Mm.
it's a question of, what was different and why. I think it was, again, I'd learned if you don't ask, you don't get, and that
Yeah.
that was important. Um, but I was coaching people, including, with working with cancer, who wanted to go back to work, to make changes to their working life. And somehow I was able to just lock away what was happening to me. But I did reflect more on their situations, and I actually found it quite cathartic, and to be able to work through and to think about other people. What here though, whereas everybody knew about Al, for myself, I chose to only tell people who needed to know, um, and that was my choice. It meant that I could focus on what I needed to do for work rather than just always talking about myself. I didn't want to do that. However, my colleagues and friends within working with cancer were different, because I knew to some degree that they would understand how I was feeling, and it felt a very safe environment. And the news shared with them meant people just absorbed it and took it in, and it was good. It was absolutely fine. And I think that was really helpful. So I think knowing where you can talk to people and choosing who. Working for myself, I have lots of clients, but I chose who was going to support me, if you like, through that. So I'd always be an advocate for people, talking to people that they work with. When you're self-employed, it doesn't have to be everybody, and I chose that.
Mm.
um, but also as a coach, I find my empathy with others who are going through the same thing is now much more honed. I'm very keen to support other people and to make a difference in any way that I can. And actually maybe help them find the questions they didn't know that they needed to ask. I think that's probably the biggest change, because having been there myself and asked those questions, you perhaps have that understanding. You don't want to lead people, but you can
Mm.
certainly, be there.